Welcome to the Militia Gaming Podcast. I'm your host, Trigger Militia, and today we're going to talk a little bit about a tiny game called Call of Duty, Xbox Game Pass, and the October system update. But first, let me introduce my beautiful co-host. On my right, he once told me his own girlfriend was a bottom feeder, Toolbag Teeter, and on my left, give him a brew and sit in his Subaru, and you too can become part of his crew. What the Dr. Seuss? I fucking nailed that. Let's go.
Dude,
what is up, guys?
That was a pretty good
Fucking nailed that. Nailed that intro, bro.
First try.
First try. Well, not really. I fucked up the first one. Second try, and I got it. I got it down. What's up, guys? How is everybody doing? How was your week? And what have you been playing? Teeter, let's start with you. What have you been playing this week? I have a feeling I know the answer to this because of something that came out on Thursday night. But go ahead.
Definitely Call of Duty.
For sure. What else, though?
I think we played a little bit of Destiny and Apex, like, before it came out. Right?
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. This week we played a little bit. I definitely played some Destiny after reset. I was excited to start getting all of the new legendary? No, what is it called? Powerful gear. But anyway, anything else?
On my part?
Yeah.
No, that's pretty much it. I think that's the only few games I've been playing this week.
Right. Kyle, what about you?
Same, man. Same. Leading up to Thursday, nothing but Destiny. Grinding that out pretty hard. And then Thursday, Call of Duty dropped, and that's all I've been playing.
Yeah, me too. Since Thursday, I've been playing nothing but Call of Duty. I actually that's not true. Actually, I got a little bit bored when none of you guys were on, I think Friday night, and I was playing by myself. I decided to go back to Destiny because, I don't know, solo queuing in Call of Duty just isn't that fun for me. I don't know about you, but so anyway, I went back to Destiny and got a couple of powerful engrams, and then I've been nothing but Call of Duty since Thursday. So, and I don't know, it's been, I guess we can just get right into our main topic, which is the Call of Duty release, because I have a feeling we're going to have a lot to say about this. Personally, I'm giving this Call of Duty about a 6 out of 10. I was between like a 6 and a 7, but I think I'm going to give it a 6. I've been thinking a lot about all the things I like and don't like about it, and I've landed on a 6 for a couple of reasons. But before that, I want to hear, Teeter, your thoughts out of 10. What do you think overall Call of Duty?
Well, if I was going to rate it out of 10, I'll probably give it a 7.5.
Okay, that's pretty solid.
Mm-hmm.
Can you give me a brief reason?
Well, at the core, it's a good game. It's got amazing graphics, great sound design. Each map is very unique play style and like how the opposing teams combat each other. But the reason why I didn't give it higher is because it definitely needs some tweaks to like the game mechanics to be fully, I would say, like a great Call of Duty to me, at least.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. I think there's some things there's a couple of problems that are going to be very difficult for Activision to fix. Kyle, what about you?
I was going to give it an 8.
Dang,
Solid 8 on
loving
there.
it, bro.
I really like it. There's a few things that I don't like, but how much I enjoyed playing it, like, really outweighs it.
Yeah, you love it so much that I believe Thursday night you stayed up all night and you did not sleep at all.
No,
Why don't you tell me how you felt the next day?
I actually was pretty good until like 6 p.m. and then I was dead, and that's when I got off and went to sleep.
Yeah, I was I was thinking, like, when you text me earlier that day and was like, hey man, I stayed up all night, I haven't slept yet. I was thinking, damn, you either need to go to sleep right now and try to wake up in like a couple of hours and then go to bed at a normal time, or you just stay up until like around 8 or 9 and then crash for the entire night. But I think you crashed at like 6:30.
I crashed. Yeah, I finally went to like lay down in bed and stuff at 7, and then I didn't wake up until the next morning. It's pretty sweet.
Jesus.
It was nice, good sleep there.
Yeah, that's it's fucking wild.
Yeah, I was up with Jake all night playing those what is it? Gunfight, the 2v2s. Man, that's the most fun thing in the entire game is the 2v2 gunfight. It's so good.
Wow. I haven't played that at all, and I'm kind of disappointed because you guys have been like raving about it this whole time, how good the 2v2 is. Why is the 2v2 so good? Like, I know small map, 2 people, you can work together, all of that, but like what specifically?
It's not frustrating. There's no camping, there's no extra BS. It's literally you two and the other 2 on the other team have the exact same class every single round. If you lose the round, there's nothing to blame other than they beat you. They were better that round.
Yeah.
It's just it's so fun.
So what you're saying is it relies more on the gunplay than anything else. That's the part about this game that actually
who's better
is really good is the gunplay. I mean, yeah, and who's better, that's who's going to win the round. I really appreciate that, and I think that was something that Call of Duty did really, really well. Like Modern Warfare 2 and 3 and like Black Ops 1 and 2 back in the day. I mean, it was just all about the gunplay, and whoever was better was going to win the fight. And I feel like they've kind of lost that a little bit with this one, but we'll get into that a little bit later. I want to stay on the positive right now. Teeter, what'd you find positive about this Call of Duty release?
What do you mean by like what do I find positive? Like what do I like about the game?
What do you like? Yeah, what do you like about it?
I definitely like the attention to detail that like the graphic artists and the sound designers like did with it. It's definitely a very beautiful sounding game, from like how the guns sound when they're shooting to the way grenades sound when you call in the airstrikes and stuff. Like the guns and like the jet turbine sounds are like pretty damn close to like real life.
Yeah, I second that. That was actually my number one. When I thought about the question, what do I like about Modern Warfare? The number one answer was the sound design. I think they did an incredible job. The sound is so good. Like footsteps and where they are and grenades and everything you just described. Yes, I agree 100% with. Another one of mine is actually the fact that it's still at its core a Call of Duty game. So like just this aimless shooting and multiplayer competition of running and shooting like that for some reason just never gets old. Like even if I'm running to where the action is and I get shot by a camper, like I'm pissed for the slight second, but then the second I can get back into the action and start shooting again, I'm like, I totally forgot about that camper already, and I'm just back to playing Call of Duty. So the thing that I really like about it is, of course, the sound design, but I just like getting back to that, like multiplayer shooter space. I just really love that. So that's one of my biggest ones. The other one I thought was actually Ground War. Now, I know, Kyle, you had a little bit of a different opinion than me, but I actually really liked Ground War. I mean, not for any other reason other than it's kind of like, I don't know, it doesn't feel like there's this urge to like get anywhere or go do anything to try to help your team win because there's just so many people. So it's kind of relaxing. You can just sit on the outside and snipe if you want. You can choose to be in the middle of the action if you want, but none of it really matters too much because unless you go off like crazy and have all these kill streaks, you're not really going to make a huge difference in the outcome of the game. And if you have terrible teammates, you're going to lose. So that's just the way it is. So I go into it thinking, okay, I can just relax. I can snipe. I can, get in and shotgun if I want in the middle of all the action, which I know I'm going to get blown up by a grenade, but who cares? It was kind of relaxing. So I thought Ground War was great. I like the addition of Cyber Attack. I think Cyber Attack is a nice kind of little bit of a fresh take on Search and Destroy, if you want to call it that. I don't know. I thought that mode was pretty good. And then I don't know if you guys tried it, but I also tried Spec Ops with Jesse and his friend, and I thought that was actually pretty fun. It was surprising like how big and open the maps were. I thought it was going to be more of like a real linear, like the game was going to direct you into a certain path that you had to take, but there really wasn't that. It was very open and you kind of had to figure out what you were supposed to be doing. So I thought that was pretty smart as well. Did any of you guys get to try Spec Ops at all? Either one of you guys?
Nope, I did not. The only thing I've done is multiplayer so far.
Okay. I was thinking we should try the campaign before we started talking, but I just didn't have time today. And so maybe we can revisit the campaign on the next podcast. But I've been hearing nothing but great things from the community. Everyone on Instagram, everyone that that I talk to has really, really loved the campaign so far. And I've seen a couple of clips that I thought were really intense moments. So I'm actually kind of excited to play the campaign. So that's something I am looking forward to. You guys have anything else you want to add to the good parts of Modern Warfare? I'm sure there's some other things you guys liked.
Yeah. I really like that they changed for like search and like different game modes like that. Then now it's first to 6 rounds. I think that's kind of cool. It drags out the game a little bit longer, gives you more experience and stuff like that. That's pretty cool, opposed to how it used to be 4 in like every other Call of Duty.
Yeah, definitely.
That was pretty
I like
sweet.
that too.
Yeah. What else? Like, yeah, I don't know. It's so far. I don't have too much to complain about the game. There's just certain things, but I mean, it's overall. I think it's overall a really good game, and it has the potential for like a couple tweaks to be even better.
Yeah, definitely. What do you guys think about the class system, like creating your class and the layout, and because it's totally different. It's different than anything we've experienced on a Call of Duty game. All the menu is sort of, the UI I should say, is sort of like in a laid out fashion where you can see where each of the things go. It's not your standard like 10-point class system where you have 10 points and you can spend them wherever you want. You have just a limited number of attachments that you can put on your gun. Teeter, what do you think about that versus like the older systems?
I love it, honestly. It's great. It gives you like so much more like freedom of how you want your gun. Like the list of customization opportunities is almost endless. Just like barrels alone for a lot of guns, there's like 17. You know what I mean? I'm like over exaggerating, but it's crazy. But in terms of like the layout, huh?
Yeah, go ahead.
But just in terms of like the layout, I think it's great because it's like clean and simple. It's like, oh, you want a different barrel attachment? You just, hover over the barrel side of the gun. You want a different sight? You go over there. And then it kind of gave a buff to the perk Overkill, which lets you bring a primary as a secondary, because you can fully customize both of your weapons. Versus like an old Call of Duty game, if you wanted to have that perk, you can only put, let's say, like 2 or 3 attachments on your primary, and then when you get to your secondary, maybe 1. You know what I mean? You have like set amount of points you can't fully customize both, so it gives you more options, I guess. And plus, when you're in a game, you could change attachments on your gun on the fly. It's like you got a new sight, you could throw it on mid-match. You want a suppressor, throw it on mid-match. It's great.
Yeah, definitely. I 100% agree. I think the new system is much better. And you're right. I didn't think about that, but you're right with the overkill perk. By having basically 2 primary guns and you can fully kit both of them, that's pretty amazing. Because if you think about it, there's maybe 5-6 different types of attachments on each gun. You're looking at 10 points just with your guns, and that doesn't count your 3 perks and your grenade, your lethal grenade, and your tactical grenade. So there's you're basically instead of like a 10-point system, you're given like a 15 or 16-point system depending on how you build it. I love that. I haven't really been changing my gun too much mid-match, but I do like that the ability to do that is there. I always thought that was something we should have the ability to do. Like, it doesn't make sense to be completely locked out of your class system when you're in the middle of the game, because you just don't know when certain situations will require certain different things. And, I feel like old Call of Duties would, in a way, penalize you for not being prepared for a situation that you don't even know exists by not letting you change your classes or not letting you change your weapon attachments mid game. So actually, I like the freedom of that. What do you think, Kyle?
Yeah, I think it's a great addition to the game, being able to change your classes mid game and stuff. Yeah, and also with the layout, when the second I hit level 4, where I can create my own class, and I had the gun, and I finally unlocked a red dot for it, which was great. I went to put the red dot on it, and I also had another attachment that I could put on it, and I was lost for a minute, like, wait, how do I get that? Like, how do I put it on? But then now that I figured it all out, I think it's amazing. I think it's way better than the old system.
Yeah, I agree.
I think
I was
the
a
reason
little
why
lost.
they did that, I think the reason why they did that is because all the other Call of Duties, I wouldn't say all, but most of them were kind of more, like the Call of Duties were like more like arcadic, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or, like the 3-lane system and stuff, where like this Call of Duty is more immersive, and I guess more like, I don't want to say like realistic, but more tactical, you know what I mean? So you're definitely gonna need like that mechanic in the game to adjust for like the other team, how they're playing, or like the maps, or like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I think you're right. I think the game is a little bit more tactical. And what I was reading online is that they kind of were hoping to design the maps in a more realistic way, as opposed to something that's designed specifically for video games, for gaming. So in that sense, they are more tactical, because in real life, it would be a more tactical situation. So yeah, the added benefit of being able to change your classes, I think, pairs really nicely with the overall design of the game. Although I really can't say that the map design is something that I like. But right before we get into dislikes, because I'm going to save that, what do you guys think of the challenges and like the missions? Because that's something that I thought was pretty cool, a pretty cool addition, and a little bit different than the Black Ops 4 system and even the World War II system. There's like specific missions and challenges that you need to do in game in order to earn like legendary versions of the existing guns. Kyle, did you notice that, and have you earned any legendary guns from those challenges yet?
I've earned a couple of them, but to be honest with you, I don't really pay attention to the challenges. Like the other day was the first time I actually started going for them and stuff like that. But for the most part, I've just kind of been just playing. I haven't really paid attention to it that much.
Yeah, like just loving the fact that you're playing Call of Duty and back into a match.
Yeah. Until just the other day, you guys were talking about it, and I was like, wait, I should be looking into these challenges and stuff. It was funny.
Right. What about you, Teeter?
Yeah, I've been working towards them. Like, I think the only one I think I fully unlocked is the MP7, which is cool because it's the first challenge, and that SMG is like one of the last ones you could unlock. So it's kind of a, jump start, if you will. And they're pretty easy to complete, just a little bit of time. I think the idea is great. Instead of having like care package, system where you have to buy like crates or whatever you earn them. It's kind of like just like like I think that's how they did in World War II. They get like different versions of like the guns. You have to get them out of crates. I kind of like the idea that you have to like work towards it to like obtain it. So it kind of gives you a sense of like pride because like you know what I mean because you had to work towards it. I don't know.
Yeah, I get that. It's sort of like a goal. You're looking at something, you're trying to complete a challenge. It kind of keeps you playing. But I also think it can switch up your play style too. I mean, so often in a Call of Duty game, I find myself sticking to one gun or like a set loadout. Like I might build a couple of loadouts, maybe two, and then the other 3 or 4 loadouts that I have the ability to customize, I never do. I just leave them alone because I'm just constantly using 1 or 2 loadouts. If I'm sniping, I snipe. If I'm running and gunning, I have, my assault rifle. And then maybe I might build a submachine gun class, but after that, I don't try out the LMGs. I don't try out the other like tactical rifles, or what were they called? I think that's what they're called, right? What was it?
Marksman
Tactical rifle. Marksman. Sorry, I don't know why I kept saying tactical, but anyway, yeah, the marksman rifles, and like I don't try any of that stuff out. I don't ever put a shotgun as my primary gun, so there goes that. I think that the challenges force you to play sort of a different style every once in a while, which can kind of freshen up the game and mix it up. Or it can really, really frustrate you because you're trying to get a challenge done and you suck ass with a shotgun. But, I think that it's good because it definitely makes you kind of play different and work towards a goal. I also like the fact that they're making like these legendary curated guns. They have like a certain set attachment layout, and they have like it's really good. The gun is really good for one type of playing, and when you play with those guns, you can see, oh, this gun, like the MP4, for example, has a legendary version that I think most of us got early in the game. When you get that legendary version, you notice like all of the attachments on it, like it's kind of meant to be, you're kind of sitting back a little bit. You've got a 3x scope, a suppressor, some things that give you some stability in the gun, even though the gun's a freaking laser anyway. But it kind of makes you like, oh, this gun is great for sitting back a little bit. So you might adjust your playstyle based on the different guns that you like. The only thing that I have a problem with on this is that they didn't do anything to customize the way the gun looks. Like I want it to look awesome. It's like this legendary curated gun. I want it to like in Destiny or Borderlands, like you have these like super sick looking guns, and I wanted it to be that, but they can always add that type of cosmetic stuff later on, I guess. I don't know. But
I wish they had more like put paint jobs on your guns or like create your own emblems, even though I didn't really do that in the last Call of Duty, which was Black Ops 4. But like option of it would be kind of cool. And like to add on like how they did in World War II, like you got like a different, like a legendary gun, like it would look different, like it had like an ornament on it, like more fancy. Let everyone know that like it's a legendary gun. You know what I'm saying?
yeah, exactly. It would be cool, or like just a little glow, or just a custom camo. I mean, anything really, to make it kind of stand out that you earned this gun. That would be rad. What do you guys think about the fact? I mean, this is going to be an easy answer, but what do you think about the fact that all the DLC is going to be free, and the fact that they're going to go towards a sort of the same route that Destiny went, which is free DLC, but like you pay for the seasons, or there's going to be that like season pass type of thing. Anybody, or like battle pass, I guess is the way to put it. Did you guys look into that at all?
I did not actually. I was unaware.
I was
curious.
Like
a little bit.
You did? What did it say?
I don't know. I think it was like when I was like pre-ordering it. I think it said, actually, I don't even know where I saw it, but I did see that like all the DLC and stuff was free. And I think it's good that they're doing that. It's like almost a setting example for like the rest of developers and publishers out there that like release a game, don't include loot boxes or like pay to win, and like bought DLC until like the critics push out the game and give it the review and stuff, and then the game's 6 months old and they throw all this junk in it and it ruins the game. I think it's a good like role model how the game marketplace should be, especially a big title like
Yeah, I
Call of
think
Duty that has all like the name of it is like a big name in the gaming community.
yeah, definitely. I think that it's I think it's kind of something they had to do, honestly. I mean, if you look at some of the other games, like Destiny is free to play with an asterisk. You can't really play any of the new content without paying, but Destiny's free to play, Fortnite's free to play, Apex is free to play. There's this emerging model of like sort of this free to play thing, and I know Call of Duty's not. You still have to pay $60 to play it, but they're kind of taking a step in that direction, and I wouldn't be surprised if the next Call of Duty was free or discounted in a little bit, maybe a half price or like a $40 price point plus free DLC and some sort of battle pass that goes along with it, because I think that's what gamers want. I mean, it's definitely the most popular games are doing that already. So it seems like that's kind of where the gaming industry is going. They're gonna go to this free to play model plus these cosmetics that they can sell you and battle passes and additional content that they're gonna try to sell you afterwards. So I don't know. I like it. I like that type of model. I think it makes more gamers. I think more people can join in, because they don't
Yeah.
have to pay right up front.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. I like it just also. It's like if you buy a $60 game, like you don't have to invest any more money if you don't want it. You know what I mean? If they do come up with a battle pass or some more challenges you have to pay to get like, these awesome looking cosmetics, like you don't have to if you don't want to, but if you want to spend the money, you can. It's also for those people that have like, financial, struggles. They don't feel like they need to buy it in order to like get the most out of a game that they purchased. It's great.
Yeah, I agree. All right, so are we missing anything that we really like about the game? Is there anything else that we left out? Anything you can think of? I don't have anything else on my list. Kyle, you good?
Yep, all good here.
Mr. 8 out of 10. And Teeter, you're good?
Yeah, for the most part.
All right.
I guess I can add on to Ground War. I like how they added that. It's kind of like a different kind of game mode that Call of Duty's ever really included. It's kind of like a Battlefield kind of esque kind of game mode with like a Call of Duty feel and experience. I think it's great that they included something like that to maybe to get like maybe some of the Battlefield community to come over and like play the Call of Duty game. It kind of appeals to more people. Maybe you don't like the close maps and close quarter combat. If you want to sit on the outside of a big map and snipe, you can. I think it's great.
Yeah, definitely.
I guess to add on, what we didn't have the first couple days of playing, what they added now is the new Team Deathmatch and Domination, the 20-player lobbies. I think that was a great addition for how big the maps are. Now it seems more full and not as much running around trying to get to the fight.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. I was starting to get really frustrated the first couple of days before they added that 20-player lobby. I
Yeah.
thought the maps were insanely too big. I mean, given my history with Call of Duty, I've played every single one of them. I know you guys have too. Like, I'm used to getting into the action right away. Like, spawn, run a little bit, and then be fighting again. And this was like spawn, run a fucking marathon for like 27 miles, and then finally get shot in the back by someone who's camping a corner on your side of the map. Like, damn it. It was just so frustrating. So with more players, you just end up getting back into the action faster. So that's actually a really good one. I didn't think about that at all, but that's a great addition. So now, for those of you who don't know or haven't played, they've added a 10v10 team deathmatch and a 10v10 domination to kind of compensate for the bigger maps, which I thought is great. And that's even better because now you can have up to 10 of your friends playing in the same lobby with you, which, I mean, this is something we complained about with Apex and Destiny, where it's like, threes, like you can't even threes. I mean, I have you and me and Teeter, and then we've got Jesse and Jake and Stacy, and I mean, like everybody in the whole thing like wants to play together, and we just couldn't do it. So this is a game where you actually can bring all of your friends in 10v10, man. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, let's move on to the things that we dislike about Call of Duty. And if you're just tuning in, I noticed we got Dawn Anthrax in the chat and Toastier Quill 13 in the chat. Welcome, guys. But if you're just tuning in, we just wrapped up the things that we do like about Call of Duty, and then we're going to kind of go into some of the things we dislike.
That's a good point. Dawn Anthrax crossplay. That's a good one.
He's right.
That was a good addition. I like that. I like playing against the PlayStation and the PC because there's always been the feud between PlayStation and Xbox about which one's better. Now you get to play against each other, and same with the PC. Everybody knows PC superior, so it's good to kind of smack them around a little bit. It's fun.
I love when we smack around a PC team, but I will be honest, I feel like when we play a PC heavy team, we'll say there's a lot of PC players on the other team, I feel like we tend to lose more, but I don't know if it's exactly because of the PC players or if it's just, our teammates are terrible or we're playing terrible or what the case is, but it just feels like we lose more. What I would like for Call of Duty to do is when you see the kill cam, I would like to see the little symbol of what platform they're playing on in the corner or like in the screen somewhere next to their gamer tag, because I am so curious if the PC players are actually better or not. Because if you're shit on PC, I'm gonna kill you. Like, if you're average on PC, I feel like I'm gonna kill you too, because I would consider myself above average at Call of Duty. I'm not great, but I'm above the average player. And so if you're average or worse on PC, I'm still gonna kill you. I don't care that you have a mouse or a fast connection, like you're still gonna die. But if you're above average PC player, I want to know, is that guy killing me? Is he killing me or am I killing him? So I want them to add that little symbol on the kill cam somewhere. And if I'm mistaken and it is there and I just missed it, I'm sorry. But Call of Duty, if you're listening, because I know they are because our podcast is so popular, popular, put it in the corner of the kill cam screen. So, Dawn, thanks for that. I appreciate that. Crossplay is, I think, is another positive. It's good for the industry as well. All right. As far as what we dislike, Teeter, do you want to go first on this one?
Yeah, sure. I already hinted towards it a little bit earlier in the stream about like the map design. Yeah, I mean, I'm not really feeling either. It feels, I don't know, especially like Euphrates Bridge, where everyone camps on top of the bridge. It's a weird laid out map. It's like you spawn on one side, and like the people on the bridge have a direct line of sight right in your spawn. And it's like there's no map flow. People from one side can't really get to the other side easily. It's just like whoever has bridge control. That's all it is. And I don't like any of the maps. Really, there's not like one map. It's like, oh yes, finally, this one's my favorite. I'm really good. I really like how it's laid out. It's just like I think they're all kind of like trash. It's just some are less trash than others, like how we said. I think like the only map like I kind of like is like the cave map, and that what's it called? I don't know. I can't think of the name right now. That and the spawns don't flip like at all. Like the people from the other team could be in your spawn for like 10 minutes and you don't flip. and then sometimes you flip randomly for like no reason. Like the other Call of Duties were like super sensitive on like where alternate spawn locations or flipping. As soon as someone or a couple of people from an enemy team would push your spawn just like a little bit too hard, the whole team would flip. And on this Call of Duty so far, it doesn't at all, which really sucks when you get spawn trapped constantly.
Yeah, definitely.
The long like sight lines, it could be a little frustrating when you have like one particular guy just scoped in the entire game on that one sight line. As soon as you peek out, you're dead, and it could really suck because there's no lanes on this map, so it's gonna be kind of hard on how to navigate back to the center or back to like into the action while getting picked off every time you spawn in. Other than that, I mean, that's really the biggest complaints, and they're not like that big of like fixes. It's more of like on Activision's end on like the how things are coded, or I don't know, however they do that on their end of the spawns.
Yeah, it's definitely I honestly I think it's a bigger problem than people realize.
What about you, Kyle? What don't you like about the Call of Duty?
All right, what I don't like about it so far, it takes getting used to. It's a completely new playing style. It feels like I said in the last podcast we did, where you guys were talking about the beta and stuff like that, and I was just commenting on just gameplay that I've seen because I didn't play the beta. I was right. It plays out a lot like COD 4, the original Modern Warfare. Super open. There's sightlines from everywhere. Almost any building you can get into, every window you can see through, which leads to a lot of camping, which is it's annoying. It's really annoying, but I mean, like, that's from playing so much now. Like, it's kind of that's where the game's at right now. Like, everybody's just kind of sitting, holding back. So it's kind of how you have to play it, which took a while to get used to. That was the biggest frustration I had with it. Was every time I tried to go anywhere and do anything, it was like, man, just everybody's just sitting in one spot. Like, it's hard to do anything when you're getting shot from every window,
Right.
And
exactly.
Also, shotguns. Shotguns piss me off so much, man. Like, I should not be getting killed like halfway down the street with one shot of a shotgun. Like, that makes me so mad. Like,
very true,
more than
very
anything,
true.
almost. I'm like just running down the street or something, and I just get sniped with a shotgun.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, you kind of.
Go ahead. No, you go right
All
ahead.
right. Just how you mentioned the camping, just like the volume of like the people's footsteps, it like kind of encourages like the slower play style of just holding an angle or just like one particular spot in a building, because you can hear people coming from like a block away. So like the person doesn't have to see you; they can just like jump around a corner, start pre-firing you because they can hear you. I think they definitely need to turn that volume down just a little bit. Maybe if they're like coming up the stairs or right next to you, you can hear them. Just how it is right now is just absurd. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, it's a little loud. It is a little loud. Also, like you were saying, the map layouts, with the certain spawns and stuff like that. That's pretty annoying. Where you can pretty much, from certain spots, you can look directly into the spawn from anywhere almost. You know what I mean? Like, if you're in the middle of the map, you can pretty much see the spawn. And that gets kind of annoying, where you just kind of spawn into other people's crosshairs. Like, they'll watch you spawn and just take you out like the second you spawn in. That gets pretty annoying. And what else?
I think it's a bigger problem than people are really thinking, or that you guys think. I think the map design is a huge problem. They literally have designed the entire multiplayer experience around these maps, and you can't just like change the design of the map. Like, to do that, I mean, I'm not a game developer, but like, to change the design of the maps is a huge task. To add new maps that follow sort of the old 3-lane strategy, like, it's so difficult, I would say, to do that. You have to come up with something completely new, or change the existing ones, which is, I don't know. I think it's a problem, and it's gonna create all kinds of like little problems, like what you're talking about, the spawns, the campers, the fact that it's a slower paced game. Like it creates a huge problem in general for the game. Like Call of Duty's always been great at gunplay. I have no complaints about whenever I am in a 1v1 situation with another player and I kill him or he kills me. Like that exchange is it's not broken. Like that is still Call of Duty. But the map design is something that they cannot change, and for the most part, the community is not real happy about the maps. So I think it's a bigger problem than people are really thinking at this point. But besides the maps, which we all hate, I would say I don't like the slower movement. It feels to me like the player movement is super slow. Like just running. You're just running. It's really slow. Like that one perk called, what is it called? Double time, where you can click your stick twice and it sprints. That feels like the original speed of the game. Feels like that's what sprinting was. But now you're just running around and you're really slow and you're not moving fast. Like you can't get out of situations. You can't run back to the action fast enough, and then you combine that with a giant map design, like the palace map, for example, is like it's so huge, and the spawns are so far away from that center palace where all of the action happens. Like you're literally running forever to get back to people. So I'm not a fan of the movement in this game. I think it's slow and a little bit clunky compared to past Call of Duties. But I mean, other than that, the game's had a few bugs. My console has turned off numerous times. Teeter, I know your console has turned off a few times, and Kyle, you said yours turned off today.
Yeah,
so it's not even like it just like glitches out and sends you back to the main menu. No, it turns your console completely off, and the first thing I think of is like, oh shit, something's wrong with my console, but it's not. It's just the game, because obviously we're all having the same problem. And I think I read that was an Xbox problem. I don't know if the PlayStation or the PC users are having the same type of failures, but Xbox for sure is having that issue. And what else? The in-game. This is a small one, but the in-game, when you're in game chat, the mic quality sounds like ass. I mean, it
sounds like you're
terrible.
on a radio. I think they went
sounds
for
like you're on.
Like you sound like you're over a radio.
I mean, it sounds
man.
terrible.
Like I'm at a drive-thru and I'm talking to people.
Yeah. The game in general, like even with that included, just thinking about it now, like listen to everybody's like pros and cons and stuff on it. It seems like they went for an extremely realistic experience with how big the maps are, how the slow movement is like, like you're this guy carrying around all this equipment on you and stuff like that. You might move a little slower, which hence why your footsteps are so loud, maybe. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's a little more
like
realistic.
Your footsteps
Yeah,
are
and
really
then
loud, and you're really slow moving because you got all this equipment on you, and the gun sounds, like Teeter was saying earlier, are amazing, man. They sound like you're firing a real gun, and the airplanes that come in and the airstrikes, the freaking warthog that flies through, it all sounds so real. It's like they went for this crazy realistic war experience, as I think is what they were going for with this one.
Yeah,
I like how they added like this, like the small details, like I was saying. Like I know I use like the double barrel shotgun sometimes, and like if you like pump both those shots out, like smoke will come out the end of your barrel, and when you break the chamber open, the shells will fly out, and like smoke and stuff will come out. Like it's super cool.
Yeah, that's just like the carbine, the carbine rifle that I use all the time, man. After every shot, the barrel's smoking all crazy. You go to reload, and he pops the thing out, and it's all smoking. It's really awesome.
So, I have a question for you guys, because it seems like we have, things that we don't like, obviously, about the game. But if you were the developer, what would your first change be? Like, what would the first thing that you would address be, knowing the feedback, like knowing that the maps are not being received well, the bugs, I mean, you name it. But Teeter, what would you change about the game first?
Like, do I have to choose like one specific thing or kind of like an overall thing?
Well, what would you do first, and then give me your overall path forward for Call of Duty.
I'll definitely change the spawn locations and, add more spawn locations and like how they flip. And overall, I think if they just tweak like just the volume of like footsteps, how people spawn in, it will give like, it won't fix the maps like how they're designed, but it would make it a lot more bearable and not like, oh, not this map, you know what I mean? And like just like how you stated earlier, like this, like the running speed, like maybe just turn that up a little bit, or maybe like just take like the palace map, just like cut out, the far sections of the map and just move it a little bit closer. Like it can't be that much harder, you know what I mean? Just to shorten the map just a little bit. Like I don't know.
Yeah. I mean,
it's just those small
put an
little tweaks to
invisible
make
wall.
the game a little bit. Yeah, it'll just make the game a little bit more like bearable and a little bit more enjoyable.
Honestly, they
As
could
it is
just
now, it's
move
kinda
the
rough.
spawn points. Sorry, I
Yeah,
didn't mean to interrupt
exactly.
you there. But yeah, they could just move the spawn point on the palace map alone. Just you can leave the map as big as it is. It'd be the easiest change just to take your spawn points and just push them up a little bit. Just get that initial sprint out of the way. You know what I mean? You're like the first 2 minutes of the game, you're trying to meet the other team in the middle.
Exactly.
Mhm.
Exactly. I would do that too, Teeter. I think I would attempt to curb the camping meta. That's the shit that bugs me, is that people are. I'm not even blaming the players anymore. I think that we're being sort of forced to camp almost in order to do well,
Yeah.
because of the way the map is designed. So I would say quieting the footsteps. I think that's something they could do with a pretty small patch, and possibly maybe adding a perk. And I'm thinking like a perk that makes campers more visible on the minimap. Like if you're sitting in one spot for too long, let's say 3 or 5 seconds or something like that, then you appear on the minimap or something like that. As long as you have a certain perk enabled, I don't know. I'm just spitballing ideas, but it seems like there could be something that could limit the camping a little bit and make people run around more. Maybe a perk that gives you higher damage after sprinting, or something like that would really help the camping meta, I feel like.
That's a good idea.
Kyle, what about you? Besides the camping stuff, what would you change first?
First would be, I don't know. That's a tough question because there's not too much that I think they can do. You know what I mean? Like with what's given, like maybe go over like the more overpowered weapons, maybe. Like maybe the M4. I think the M4 needs a tiny nerf. That thing's ridiculous.
Yeah, I agree.
Some of the LMGs are crazy. There's like a 2-bullet just melt you, and they're a laser beam with a 100-bullet clip. Maybe something like that might need to be nerfed down a little bit. Maybe shotgun range might need to be pulled back. I think the one shot with a shotgun, that's realistic. If you're running in at somebody with a shotgun, you should die by one pump. That makes sense. But to die by
Maybe
one blast
shorten
of a
the range.
shotgun at range is crazy. Like,
Yeah, I agree.
that's the difference.
I agree.
Yeah, it's a little bit too
I think-
realistic for a video game.
I don't even know that it's that realistic. I think from 30 feet away, something
You
that's
kidding
going to
me?
shoot a spread of pellets at you. I mean, you might bleed out, but you're not going down right away.
Yeah, it's
You
true.
know.
Yeah, it's not gonna be instant death. It's definitely gonna hurt though.
Well, shit, getting shot with a beanbag is going to hurt. We went a little long on the Call of Duty topic, but it's okay. Let's go ahead and keep the Xbox Game Pass topic for another episode. We'll review some of the Game Pass games coming out over the next couple of weeks, and we'll talk about that in 2 weeks. Let's give a little bit of an update on the Xbox system, because it did get an update as of this October. I don't know if all consoles have it yet, but I'm pretty sure it went live for most. I'm just gonna kind of roll through some of these changes that they made to the Xbox dashboard. So one of the things that doesn't apply to me at all, because I don't have kids, but other people might find interesting, is that they are now adding game time limits and app time limits in the family settings. So as a parent, you could limit your child to 1 hour of Fortnite every day. And as soon as it gets to 1 hour, they hit their time limit, and they can't play that game anymore. And the same goes for certain other apps as well. In addition to that, they've added wish list notifications, which I think is great. If you're shopping around and you see a game that you want to buy, you may not have the money right away, you can throw that game on your wish list. That's always been there. But now, if you put a game on your wish list and that game happens to go on sale, Microsoft will or Xbox will send you a message in your Xbox messages and say, "Hey, this game's on sale," and it prompts you to buy it and pick it up while you can get a discount. I think that's a great addition. Also, they've made some changes to the Mixer viewing window. It's now going to be integrated in the dashboard. And this is a great way to find out if your Xbox actually got the update. If you go to your dashboard and then you tab over to Mixer and select one of the things or one of the streamers that's playing, it should just pop right up and you can actually watch it right there. And if you hit B, it'll take you back and you're back at the dashboard again. So they've really integrated it into the dashboard. I'm glad that they put it on a separate tab, because if it was on the home tab, it might slow down the operating system a little bit, but it's on it's the third tab or fourth tab over. And then you can just watch your favorite streamers. You can also sort the streams by who you're following, who's your favorites and things like that, which is pretty nice. Another thing they added was they actually added the ability to recommend an Xbox Game Pass game to a friend. So if you really love a game, you can go into Xbox Game Pass and recommend it to a friend, and that person will get a notification that tells them, "Hey, your friend recommended this," and they can start downloading it right away from the recommendation. So I think Xbox is just thinking about how to make it easier for people to get into Game Pass and start playing more Game Pass games. They've made some changes to the recent players tab. They're trying to make the service a little more reliable and a little easier to connect with the gamers that you've just played a match with. So, if you're in a Call of Duty match and you like the guy that was on your team, you can team up with that person. That's how it always was supposed to be, but I feel like it didn't work very well, at least not for me. And there was a couple of under the hood improvements. They've really put a focus on the instant on feature combined with the automatic download feature. So where a game receives an update from the developer, the console is supposed to update that game instantly if your console is in instant on mode. It should update right away. So I've always had my console that way. I've always had it set up. And I know, Kyle, you've had this problem too, but it almost never updates the game that gets the update. The developer will push the update, and then we never get the update, and I have to update it manually when we go to play the game. I mean, it's happened so many times.
man,
And I think
that
that's
sucks.
I think that's it. Is there anything in that list of stuff that they're doing that really makes a difference to either one of you guys? I mean, besides the game updates, because that's one that we all want.
Yeah.
Teeter, anything in there that kind of what's that?
Not really. I mean, I don't have kids, so the parental controls don't really apply to me, but it's a cool idea. Game updates are great. I feel like all the games I never played would get automatically updated, but the ones I played on a regular basis wouldn't. So I don't know what the point of that was. Glad they fixed it.
Right.
But like, I mean, the recent players tab is kind of cool. I know there's a few times, that like, there's a guy I was like chatting with or whatever, it was cool, and I want to invite him, but like the recent players thing wouldn't like refresh. It would just show me people I played with like 2 hours ago. I'm like, okay, I don't know. Other than
Right.
that, I mean, that's pretty much it.
Yeah. Kyle, anything in there that strikes your fancy?
Not really, just the same. Yeah, that the whatever you call it, the updating. That's pretty good. Other than that, the
Yeah.
rest doesn't apply to me too much. So the mixer thing's pretty cool. I like that you can just kind of go over to the mixer tab and view stuff from right there instead of having to load up an app and then cycle through that way. So that's
Yeah.
pretty neat.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's a good feature. It's particularly because they didn't slow down the dashboard. I was worried, man. When I heard this, I was like, this feature is gonna slow the dashboard down for sure, because they're trying to like integrate it more, and it always had to like launch the Mixer app for it to work. So anyway, the fact that it doesn't slow it down is great. Other than that, I think, is there anything else you guys want to say before we wrap this up and start
Nope.
playing some Call of Duty? All good?
Yeah, I think that's about it. Covered a lot.
All right, so let's go ahead and let's do our signature outro. Everybody ready?
Yep.
Yes, sir.
All right, that's it for us. Thank you to everyone who has tuned in or watched this on YouTube. Next podcast should be in about 2 weeks. And let's sign off. I don't know what I'm saying. Bye.
Bye.